Hey guys, thank you so much for all of your emails and all of your messages with your renovation questions. It was so amazing to see so many people embracing home renovation and motivating. And I tell you what, do you know what was even more exciting? It was super exciting to see ladies at the forefront of most of the renovation questions that came in. Hey Alana, how are you, lovely lady? So I've got a pile here. I've got a pile of questions that have come in over the last week that I'm going to answer with you guys live today, actually from my couch, because it is school holidays. That's right. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, I'm going to try and answer all of them live here today. There are quite a few, but I'm sure we can get through it. Hi, Georgia. That's my daughter from the other room saying hello. And later on, if you do miss this, I will be popping it up on IGTV, so you can always hack into that later. That's no dramas at all. Okay, so let's get into it. Question number 1. So this is from Cassandra Brennan. She said, "Hi, Naomi. When you're doing a quick flip, how do you negotiate utility contracts? Example, having the electricity connected for only a short period of time for your trades to use." Fantastic question, Cassandra. So pretty much the answer is really simple. It is as simple as you get it connected as soon as the house settles in your name, and so you contact them, you make sure that you get everything changed to your name, and then you keep the power connected during the renovation for your trades to use. The water, generally I would never get the gas connected because there's never ever a need to have the gas connected usually during a renovation. My trades never usually need that, but I always get the water connected, I always get the electricity connected. And then as soon as the property is unconditionally exchanged, I will ask for, or settled in some states, I'll actually just let them know that they need to disconnect and that the property is no longer mine. And I've never had a trouble with that over the 114 renos at all. So it's as simple as you just get it connected when you need it, get it disconnected as soon as the property is no longer yours, and you're away. But one thing that I do is I do make sure that my water is turned off at the mains once my renovation is complete during the sale period and during the exchange and settlement period. So that, you know, if you're not frequenting the house often, or if you're not frequenting any house often, always good to have the water off at the mains, because you wouldn't be there if there was a little blowout that you needed to fix. So I hope that one helps, Cassandra. Okay, so next one is Kristen Ann. "How do you start? Me and my partner are wanting to start this part-time and move into it full-time." I'm assuming you mean flipping, which is really cool. Anyway, we're not sure how to start. Do we use equity from our current house to buy the next house, or do we use our home loan, or is there another type of loan? This is the only part I can't find information on. So these are all great questions. Obviously, I don't have a financial services license and I can't give you financial advice legally. However, what I can tell you is how I've done it in the past and how many people have done it in the past and how many students do it. So people often do it very different ways. One of the ways they can do it is by utilising some of the equity in their own home, whether that's through a redraw facility, whether that's through a line of credit, however that might be. Many people that I know, what they'll also do is maybe use that for their renovation costs and their deposit, but they'll actually get a loan from a bank for the property that they're wanting to buy. Obviously, some banks aren't fans of flippers, so to speak, because obviously the money gets paid in to our accounts to buy the houses and then paid out when we sell the house. So it's really important that you work with a really great mortgage broker that understands your needs, because there are some places, hey everyone, it's nice to see you all. There are some places and some banks and some institutions that understand how we work, but it's about really working hard with a specific broker that can help you look at your existing structures and also look at financial institutions that will be okay with you getting money in and then obviously flipping money out. But really importantly on this point, it's a little bit off topic, Kristen, but depending on the structure that you're renovating in. So what I mean by that, I mean, are you renovating as an individual? Are you renovating as a renovating company? Are you renovating in a trust? How are you actually renovating from a tax perspective? because that will then impact on how, hello, lovely to see you, Joey, that will then impact on how you actually can borrow. So really important for those to be in alignment, really important for the structure or entity that's buying your flip or your property and the finance of the property to be in alignment. So I hope that helps, Kristen. Okay, Stacey. Hi, Naomi. I'm about to hang some pendant lights in my bedroom. What is the ideal height to hang them? So I'm taking a guess here, Stacey, that you're talking about maybe over your bedside tables. That's maybe where you're looking to hang your pendant lights. If that is the case, I like to leave at least probably 650 to 750 minimum, maybe even 800 minimum between the top of my bedside tables and the bottom of my pendants. That allows me to have, a gorgeous thing of flowers. It allows me to have a stack of books without worrying about every time I go to use my bedside table, I hit my lamp. Obviously though, if the bedside pendants are quite large, you need to make sure that they're above the height. So if they might stick out a little bit over your bedside table, you need to make sure that they're a little bit above the height of what your head height would be sitting on your bed. Because if they slightly, I'm waving my hand over here, that's ridiculous. If they slightly protrude out beyond where your bedside table does, then you run the risk of nudging your head on them. Hi, Build My Empire. You run the risk of nudging your head on them as you get in and out of bed. Now, if, Stacey, you're actually talking about having one over your bed, a pendant over your bed can be just divine. Obviously, it depends on the height of your bed as to how high you would then hang your pendant. Another place you can hang a pendant in a bedroom is as a feature in a corner, and so that can be quite a low hang to put it there. So if that is the case, I usually like to hang them around shoulder height if they're meant to be kind of mid-tier lighting. So if you wanted to sort of hang it in the corner of the room. So in that case, of mine, my height, about shoulder height, is around probably 135, 140 centimeters off the ground. Okay, so I hope that helps with that one, Stacey. Just juggling my hand, getting a sore hand. All right, next one is from Jenny. Hey Jenny, how are you? I just saw your surname. So my bathroom wall is 3 meter tile wall. I'm assuming you mean across, with a wall hung vanity of 1500. It's a double vanity. I want to put in 2 mirrors over each basin. As the position of the light switch doesn't allow for one big single mirror. That sucks a little, Jenny. How big should each round, or should they be rectangular mirrors, and what dimensions should they be? Cool. So some of this completely depends on the space, the height of the ceilings, what's around it. Now, it's a real bummer about the light switch being in the middle. I get that it's super practical. So for me, you have a couple of options there. So you can either put the 2 single mirrors in, and we'll talk about that. Realistically, you only have a 1500 wide vanity. And so ideally, you want your mirrors to be a minimum width of what your basins are at minimum. Realistically, when you're looking at your vanity and what mirrors are functional pieces. Yes, they're absolutely amazing styling elements, and yes, they can bounce light around, and they can reflect views, and they can make a space look bigger, but we also need to be able to see in it to be able to do makeup, do hair, have a shave. And so for me, realistically, a minimum of maybe 700 wide is ideal. However, you've just told me your vanity is only 1500 wide, which means that's going to leave very little room in the middle for your light switch. So for me, Jenny, one question might be, is there anywhere that you could get that light switched moved to? And if the answer is yes, and people might be going, but what about the hole in the tiles that's going to be left? I totally get that, but that would then allow you to put one large mirror over it if you chose. So that's the alternative there. But realistically, 600 to 700 is your minimum size for your mirror widths, absolute minimum for me personally, and what I would use in a reno. in saying that, when you say, well, should they be circles or should they be round, that really depends on the overall style of your entire reno. So would circles feel too vintage? Would circles feel too coastal? Do you have circles anywhere else in the space? I'm always a massive fan of putting a circle into any space that I do. But the circle or the square one, or the circle or rectangle, that for me, that's a bit of a style question depending on what the space looks like. So I hope that helps, Jenny. Okay, one from Sandra here. We are wanting to stain our old timber deck. Do I need to sand the entire deck first or just clean it? That's a great question, because we always need to upkeep our decks in our country. Our environment, I was looking at mine yesterday, the environment is so harsh when it comes to our decks. So the answer, Sandra, is if you, for example, want to completely transform and change the way the deck looks, then you would need to sand it all the way back. But to be able to do that, you need to either have countersunk screws that are on the deck, or you need to hole punch your nails below the level of the deck line to be able to sand it. You can grab yourself like an amazing belt sander from Bunnings or Coates Hire or Kennards Hire or any of those to completely sand the deck back. But that's only if you're really wanting to transform it completely. So if you're wanting to, say, take it from a bright red stain to a milk wash, then you would absolutely need to do that. If you are just wanting to refresh the deck and you're wanting to go a similar colour to what it already is, or it hasn't been stained before, then you can actually just give it a really good clean. So you can give it a light pressure hose. Hey, the little styling co, how you doing? You can give it a light pressure hose, and you can use a product. There's a product called Deck Clean, funnily enough, and you can actually use that to really get back some of the layers of old oil and dirt and grime. So between that, a pressure hose, that product, and a good scrubbing brush, you can actually get your deck back to a good enough level to then be able to re-oil it. So I think your other question in there, Sandra, sorry, I had to swap hands, was what colour would you recommend it? So that totally depends on what colour your rest of your house is. So for me, I'm a bit anti, to be honest with you, sort of the red, warmy, colours that have been about in the last couple of years. I'm much more a fan of the more grey browns and the more naturals. I even, to be honest with you, if you have a beautiful hardwood deck, if you have a gorgeous, like a blackbard or a spotted gum, sometimes just a gorgeous natural oil can be phenomenal. We don't always need to have a stain or a colour in our oils. Remember that. We don't always need to stain or colour our decks, because once you've done that, the only way to go back and go natural or go lighter is to do that big sanding effort that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so the next question is from Scott. I think that might be our first gentleman. Welcome, Scott. Okay, so our next question is, what is the best way to cost up how much a bathroom renovation will cost? Great question. Do we need to get quotes for all the trades first, or what's your advice for calculating the basics? Okay, so this is a huge question, Scott. I love it. So in any type of renovation you do, you need to factor in the following things. So the cost of your materials, the cost of your trades, the ancillary costs of renovating. So ancillary costs are things like skip bins, are like the products that you don't think of, like glues and grouts spaces, or tile spaces, those sorts of things, of cleaning up. So there are some of the ancillary costs. So you've got material costs, you've got your trades cost, you've got your ancillary costs. So they're a must. So they're the things that you need to price up first, and they're all quite achievable to do. So if you haven't already done so, jump onto the App Store or Google Play and download the Rapid Renovate. So it's an app that I developed, and in it you can actually use that, Scott, to cost up each and every one of those materials. It'll even prompt you as you're in your bathroom. So you have to go, when you first go onto it, enter a project. So let's say, Scott, the bathroom's at your house. Enter a project of my house, and then add all the details of your space. So add the height of the ceiling, the size of the wall, like the floor area. And then when you go into project planning, so you hit the plus down the bottom, go into project planning, it'll actually prompt you to literally add the tiles, the paint, the accessories, the tapware, the bathroom furniture, so shower screens, so vanities, all of that. And there are costings in there. So that will allow you to then cost up the materials of your renovation really, really easily. So that covers that one off. The next part is your trades. If you don't have an ongoing relationship with your trades, if you don't have a really great relationship with them, if you're maybe new to this and it's the first bathroom you've ever done, then absolutely I would get costings from your plumber, your electrician, your tiler, and if necessary, your chippy or your builder. Hi, Yolanda. Lovely to see you. So that's really, really important. And then you can actually go back and add that into the app so you have an overall, look at the budget. In there also is another really important part. In the reference section of the app, you'll see a thing called things that I need. And so it's great to jump on and get the things that I need sorted. You'll see in there that there's a section for tiling, and it'll give you a list of all the things that you might need if you were going to be doing the tiling yourself, and so you can add that to your shopping list as well. So that's the materials covered, that's the trades covered. But one thing that I haven't talked about, Scott, which is so important in every single renovation you do, I get so excited there, I was jumping around, sorry. Every single reno you do is you need to factor in a buffer. That's right. Every single renovation you do, you should always, if you think your bathroom's going to cost you $5,000, you need to factor in 15% of that as a buffer. If you think your reno is going to cost you $10,000, you need to factor in 15% of that as a buffer for the what ifs, the things that could go wrong, the extra little bits that you need. So I hope that helps, Scott. I hope that helps on you costing it up. And we have one more question. Okay, this one's from Alison. I want to use cool paint colours for my interior walls, but I've heard that this can make your home feel cold and clinical. Is this true? How do you stay clear of this if you prefer the greys over the creams and beiges? So great question. So there are, generally speaking, warm and cool colours naturally, just speaking very broadly. There are warm and cool colours. Warm colours have a really bad rap of being creams, browns and beiges. Like, you know, I think Mission Brown ruined it for everybody. And so most people think that a warm colour is like a brown, a cream, a beige or a taupe. There are some amazing greys that err on the side of being cool but just aren't icy. So you can, Alison, absolutely pop them into your home. The other thing to think about is the other ways that you can warm it up. So by laying textures and soft furnishings, by having warmer colours. So technically, like, I guess like the blush pink in this piece of art behind me, that's technically a warm colour, but I have very cool colours throughout my entire home. So don't worry too much about the fact that if you're putting a cooler colour on your walls that you're going to have a freezing home. You can be using warm light, I'm pointing at a light, you can be using warm light bulbs in your light fittings. You can be using warmer colours in your accessories. You can be using textures and layering them up. But I think there's a big misconception that all greys are cool colours. All greys aren't cool colours. There are some very beautiful, cool looking greys that definitely don't frost your house up. So I hope that one's helped too, Alison. All right, guys, I think I'll just scroll. Hi, everyone. Oh, it's so cool that so many renovators have joined on. That is so cool. I'm so stoked. So we will be doing these more often. If you have questions, please make sure that you email them in or put a comment on here so we can make sure we cover them in the next one. Check our Instagram posts from time to time, and we'll be announcing when we have our next question time. And as I mentioned, you can comment there or you can email them in direct so that I can make sure that when I come back with our next brand new live, that I'll be able to answer them all for you. So make sure you also check out our digital TV series, The Reno Show. The link is in my bio, and you might find exactly what you're looking for in the content on that. So guys, I'm going to see you really soon. I'm so grateful that you all joined me. I'm so grateful that we have such an amazing renovating community that loves renovating just as much as I do. Happy renovating, team. Bye. Hey renovators, if you're ready to take the next step in your renovation journey, then come learn how to renovate with me in my online renovation masterclass. It's completely free for all of you listeners. So if you want to discover how to renovate properties for profit, head over to naomifindlay.com/renovation masterclass, where I'll show you how the 7 steps to my winning rapid renovation formula create a 6-figure income for me and many of my students. So save your spot today. Remember, it's naomifindlay.com/renovation masterclass. See you soon.